We have big time news coming out of the American soccer sphere that the USL has announced that they would like to start a new league. This will be completely separate from the MLS. I guess you can say kind of a break off because technically they are part of the pyramid right now. But the new announcement making big time waves as not just is it big because of the break off from the MLS. There's been a lot of, I guess, controversy and disagreements between the USL representatives and the MLS representatives on how they wanted to create a league. And one of the big things being the introduction of promotion and relegation and several other new things. But I wanted to get your thoughts, Fezzi, as I know you probably have several thoughts on them like I do about the USL breaking away here from the MLS.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like I was telling you off pod, I did listen to a podcast where they had the president of the USL, and he was just talking about his thoughts behind them coming to this decision to, in a sense, break away from the MLS. They're both two separate entities, but obviously, like you said, they're all part of the same pyramid with the championship and USL one being directly under the MLS. But
the MLS is closed off as far as, from the USL pyramid. So.
Right, exactly. But yeah, they're looking to create their own Division One in America that would rival. Those are the words that I saw in different articles and different podcasts, that it would rival the MLS. Obviously, it has a ways to go because there is a ton of money in the MLS, and obviously the USL doesn't have that money, and they don't have quite the infrastructure yet for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great idea. And just some of the things the president was saying, the main takeaway that I took from what he was saying was he's really thinking of like the soccer culture in America and trying to grow that like the rest of the world. And he was just saying, if there's more high-level games being played in different parts of the country, then more people will watch, more people will be interested, and there will be more pathways for kids to get into soccer, to grow through the ranks, and just create a soccer culture that's, we got a ways to go until we're like the rest of the world, and we may never ever catch up. But the goal is to get close to that, and the goal in mind is to create a culture that, will create players that will help us win a World Cup. Because right now the system we have is definitely not working. There's a lot of entitlement, and there's really a gate keeping people financially out of high-level soccer academies and club teams at a young level. So just opening up opportunities to those type of kids who don't have the funds to do that will really just stretch the game, open up doors to different parts of the country. But I just thought what he was saying really makes a lot of sense. And I love the fact that he's just like, yeah, the MLS doesn't want to do this, so we're just going to pull the trigger and create our own Division One, which will be different than the rest of the world. Because I don't think in the rest of the world, there's just a pyramid, and there's promotion and relegation through the pyramid, where at the moment, once this gets set up, there'll be two top-tier leagues, but one side will have a promotion and relegation, the other side will just be like the MLS, just a professional league where all the teams stay in the table regardless of how they do during that season. So, yeah.
Dude, I cannot tell you how much I love this, honestly, for America as an American citizen. I mean, like I said, just echoing a lot of what you said. Obviously the MLS has like a 30-year head start on the USL. It's not going to be successful overnight. But dude, the first couple of years, bro, I think we're going to be able to see so much growth with USL. Like, obviously Greenville has a USL team. I think, no, we're not championship. We're USL League One.
Yeah.
But you mean to tell me, like, if Greenville is fighting for a promotion spot, that's not going to get, a packed out stadium. Like, everyone's not going to be like, yo, I'm down there, dude. Like, we're going to go up a league, or like to stay up in the league. Like, I feel like that's just going to be such a huge momentum thing. Just the promotion relegation by itself is going to be massive. But obviously all the other incentives as well, like you were saying, a lot of the investment opportunities. They don't even want the draft, which I think is huge. Like, they want to obviously invest a ton into the academies. They want to make it a lot more affordable for kids. Like you said, we want to build a country that can compete on the international stage. It's been our dream basically for 30, 40 years now. Obviously, we're closer now as far as a talent pool is concerned than we've basically ever been, except for maybe like the 30s. I know we have technically like a third place finish in a World Cup, like way back before our great grandparents were around. But, just having that behind us, I think would be huge. And I think the MLS, brother, at some point, like, it's not just going to be like, all right, USL is going to be separate, MLS is going to be separate. And if USL starts gaining steam, dude, MLS is going to want to try to buy them. They're going to try to like make an agreement. And I hope to goodness that the USL stays strong. I just can't stand the MLS, bro. Like the franchise system, there's a draft. There's no consequence for being bad. They're just going to continue being, and like we have made strides over the last 10 years, but they're just going to continue being a retirement factory where we just get these really good older players that, great, whatever. Like they are selling some people to Europe now, some of the younger guys, but it's going to be huge for American soccer. There's one more point I was going to make about the USL as well, but I'm kind of forgetting. That I think they mentioned this as well, that they're not going to be playing a ton of neutral site games either, which I think is huge because Greenville, we've been really good basically since our team started, which is great. But like we have our home games and they're like, whatever, they're fine. But then they always play the championship out in like freaking Arizona or somewhere. Like how many people from Greenville are making the trip to Arizona? Nobody. So like, I feel like keeping the games, at home and everything is going to be huge. They're starting to talk about, this isn't, necessarily solid yet, but with the U.S. Open Cup, the MLS they didn't even care about it anymore. So the USL teams, they pulled out. So the USL is kind of basically almost running that by themselves now. And not just that, but like they talked about if the MLS wanted to keep the U.S. Open Cup, that they would start their own cup competition, which would also be huge because it would include, it's just as close as we can get within reason to the European model, I think is going to be just massive for the growth in the country. And just, I think it's going to do wonders because I think people are going to get really, really into it. I think the clubs are going to grow just, by way of, promotion, relegation. I just think a lot more people are going to care about it because the stakes are going to be so much higher. Whereas in the MLS, it's just not. And I think, not to get off on a side note here, but I think with the arrival of Messi, I think the MLS has become a lot more, not just corporatized, but like a lot more biased. Like, I know you're a Messi fan, but like there's a lot of stuff going around right now about Messi being the MVP of the league. Didn't have the most goals, most assists, most goals or assists, didn't win even his conference. But like he's the MVP, like just a lot of that stuff going around. I just don't think it's great for MLS as a whole. So I love everything about the USL league breaking off for sure. I hope they stick to it for sure.
Yeah, I definitely hope they stick to it too. And one of the cool things I saw was like, so obviously how they're going to do it is they're not just going to like promote a bunch of championship teams. What they're actually going to do is they're going to open up application process to different cities, different places that want a pro level team, like a Division I team. And then they're going to go through and they're going to be like, well, do you have the infrastructure? Like, are you gonna build a stadium, like soccer specific stadium, this, that, and the other? Kind of what you were saying. Like, I really hope the MLS doesn't just like come in and try to buy them or come up with some agreement that's gonna like destroy the whole thing. Like, I really hope that the USL, like you said, will stick to their guns and be like, hey, if you want to join this, apply, and if we think we want you, we'll let you in. Like, personally, I really hope this just like takes off and like that's the end thing where MLS it will never die because there's too much money involved, but like the popularity will go down because everyone's going to focus on the USL, and then the like different MLS teams will start integrating into the USL top tier and start leaving the MLS, which will really force the MLS hand. And then, maybe they come to an agreement that benefits the USL too, but that's...
Honestly, I hope they just say no and like be like, no, we're two separate entities. Like,
right,
we're not going to accept you buying in because like the MLS, you know what they're doing right now. They're big dogging them like, oh, we're too big. You guys are like this little league, like you'll never be whatever. But then
Mhm.
like if it like I said, in 2 or 3 years when they start gaining steam and everyone's the few people that do watch MLS and like start watching the USL because it's got a lot more things that soccer fans are used to and start giving their money to USL and start
Mhm.
going to USL games, like they're going to come in and want to try to buy the product or try to make like an agreement or something. And I just really hope that USL says no, like because this is what MLS has done for like so many years now. They strut around like this arrogance. They just like you franchise in, not participating in US Open Cup, like all this stuff is just like we're too good for you. And I don't think that they really have any ground to stand on to have that kind of attitude. So I just really hope the USL stands strong. I do think that um to start out at least that they should probably open the league to like new cities. But I think
Mhm.
that maybe there should be just new clubs entirely. Like maybe they use the same stadium or things like that. But I wouldn't be opposed to at least at the beginning buying in with because like a lot of the USL is like Greenville, Charleston,
Mhm.
Savannah, like all these like the smaller markets.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't mind bigger cities having clubs. And like every league has to start somewhere. Like the Premier League started with a bunch of teams at one point. So
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to that necessarily, but I just hope they kind of hold strong. And just hope the break is more or less clean. I know it's probably not going to be, but
Mhm.
I hope it is. So